there was a big picture goal with that team, and to a large extent, it was achieved. Yeah. But we don't do development
you
here.
had to jump through some hoops to get that second team to Marco. And I don't think that people know about this story.
Let's hear the story.
So Marco.
That's an interesting way to go into that story, because that team was oppressed. They were like, how dare you put a second team out? And now that I think about it, that team's put up numbers in the past 5 years since being created. People on that team have gone to do great things for South African Ultimate. But they were
just
prevented.
As a precursor, this might be again. We are actively lobbying for you to vote at the Saturday AGM to swap the seasons, and probably to vote for the second proposal as well. Marco, please.
Oh, sorry.
I
was looking at you. I was like, yeah, I'm motivated. I'm going to go vote. My bad.
I think that'll be our shout-out camera. And then we should move back to this one. But I think I'm kind of staring into that camera constantly. So
I'm staring into this one.
Shout-out to that corner. Then we're staring into that one. But again, sorry.
I'm sorry.
We're so sorry. We have no idea what we're doing.
I'm sorry to my friends and family.
The most. Listen,
I'm so sorry.
It'll be like 4 a.m. I'll be like, what am I doing with my life?
Yeah, no, this is
No
what you were put on this earth to do.
I'm spending more hours editing this view time will ever be on this video.
Oh, yeah. We spend more hours into this than anyone's ever watched.
Yeah. But I'm here, you know what?
Yeah.
I'm here for it. Yeah, except for that one. Shout out to Natalie.
Yeah, let's talk about it.
No, but we'll get to Mom Natalie eventually.
Never have told you guys that.
Mom.
Yeah, so as a
shout out to Mom. Big Mom podcast.
Shout out to Mom.
Of which Natalie is now one of them.
Well, anyway, Marty's too. How did you get us into...
Yes. So 2019, let's just set the scene.
There's a lot that goes on in 2019.
It's 2019. Marco just came off of starting at Chile, or thinking of starting to Chile. I remember him still driving through to Cape Town with
I was
Janku.
playing, yeah. I'd spent the summer with Janku playing for Chile.
At some stage, I told Marco, there are things to be had playing for a club with more experienced players. But on the flip side, now this is me not having an idea that Marco is like an elite level
a psycho
volleyball coach, and he's got like I have no leg to stand on actually lecturing this kid about coaching and things to gain from coaching a team that isn't as experienced. And my hot take at the time was, Marco, my boy,
you were my coach at the time.
Yeah. There's some value to add to play for a trash team that you might not get, like leadership experience when you just slot into a well-oiled machine.
Yeah.
Joke's on me. Mark is one of the best volleyball coaches, like JV coaches in America. Egg on my face. And Marco is like, he's so polite. He's like, yeah. Seriously, he's like listening to me, kind of always just thinking.
I was listening. Yeah, I hadn't reached that level of coaching stardom at that point. I'd done coaching at a high level, but I hadn't.
But still,
I was not a national champion in the U.S. as a coach yet, or a state champ. Like since then, I've done big things in the coaching scene.
And I don't even think I can take credit for that, because you have got amazing coaching staff in the U.S.
Yes, I have an amazing, and even at that time, I was talking with mentors in the U.S. on the volleyball side, being like, "Hey, this is what I'm facing here."
But so
how do I? Yeah.
So setting the scene, I tell Marco, you shouldn't join Chile. I think that's a big mistake. You should focus your energy on Marty's as a club. Just because
that was good advice.
It might be convenient now to join Chile and not like playing the because Marty's was struggling. They were on the I was coached there for a year.
We were struggling.
We were struggling. It was tough. I was playing for Legends at the time.
Yes.
And I was supposedly put there. Now, this is a bit of an insight.
Yeah.
Because Legends wanted to recruit Marty's players, so they wanted that link.
They did. They did want that link.
Andrew was the coach there, and then after Andrew stepped down because he had 2 kids and a life.
Yeah.
And he was still playing for Chile at the time. Then they were like, "Oh, Stefan, don't you want to coach?" Because I mean, I was in Marty's, and Andrew was like, "Okay." So I mean, I tried my best. I'm absolutely useless. But anyway, so I remember Marco as a first year.
I didn't know. I didn't know what I was doing out there.
Like he could kind of throw it, and I'm like, no, that's not quite. And he was like, "This guy." I just remember that looking at him like, "What? This guy? South African? What?" Anyway, so fast forward 2019.
You helped. You helped me develop into the player I am today. The abomination.
Thank you, Marco.
I still can't throw a flick.
Your gift to the ultimate.
Could have been. Yeah, so I coached Marty's for 2 years. I think 2017, 2018. No, 2018. I
was there 28. Yeah,
yes,
so I was there the second year you were there. Yeah, I think.
And then 2019, I just arrived at the fields at the start of the year, and you guys were already like practicing. You guys were going hard, and I just rocked up in like my formal wear, and I was like, "How are you guys doing?" And like, "No, fine." I just had a chat, I think, with Dirk under the tree.
Yeah.
And then I was basically just what do you call it? Like almost a backline coach in rugby. No,
you helped us a lot.
I was just like giving some throwing practice to some female players.
You helped us a ton, and I mean, there's once in 2019 you showed up and just obliterated our first team.
It was me and
with hammers, yeah. You, Yanku, and 5 girls took on our first team and demolished us, which taught us an important lesson. But
yeah, so
it was good work. Yeah.
So we did slowly building. Natalie is already like, what am I doing?
Yeah, that's
I'm good.
Natalie enjoys this story.
I think I stayed for the drama in 2019.
Yeah, I know. That is what drew people in, I think, was the odds. People were like, wait, that's what we're up against? I got to stick around to see what happens.
And I think 2019, or was it 2018 starts, shortly, or was it 2019? I can't remember. You guys were playing catch and it was still like the Hangbrug field, so it must have been 2018. No, 2019.
That's 2018. We played on those fields, yeah.
Yes, and I remember Marco. It was towards maybe the second half of the season. Where he's like, I'm not playing for this team. I'm not doing it. I'm not going to emotionally invest in this team because it's catch and we're just going to lose it, and I'm not doing it. I want to go play for Chile. This is ass. And then Marty's goes on like a second half run where like Yanni just swings it up the wind like perfect
Yanni
release, and like beautiful. The momentum shifts completely. And I'm like, Marco, don't you want to
invest?
Don't you want to get in on this action, Marco?
I did.
So that was end of 2018, and then 2019 rolls around. And I think with that, Marco, I will give you the stage, and I think we can get some comments from Natalie every now and then as well.
Yeah.
Just like her perspective of what. So you've got the inside story, and then what Natalie saw from the outside.
Yeah.
2019
as a new player, into 2018, into my first year, I've become good friends with Yanku. He's playing at Chile, and we had very sort of similar stories where he'd been at Marty's. He was taking Ultimate really seriously and was kind of like, it's not working out here. I'm going to go play for a club in Cape Town. And we'd actually been promoted to the same role. So he was the team manager in 2018. But he was like, see ya, I'm going to go play for Chile. And then in 2019, I got the team manager role on the comm. No, I was team manager.
Oh.
Pietro was chairperson.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Became chairperson after.
Yes, I was the next chair, but I was also like, it's tradition. I should just go play for Chile. And spent the summer. I didn't go back to the U.S. that summer, so I spent it here in Longabon with Yanku, just like throwing on the beach every day because we were both insane and like autistically addicted to Ultimate. Yeah, Gale Force wins.
Those videos,
yes.
Like the wind
yes. No, you're like releasing the disc vertically. Yes. I learned a lot.
Did you lose any discs?
No, I don't think we lost any discs. The wind does blow. I did not throw very far. It was we'd have like we'd get people to come out to Longabon with us, and there'd be like 4 of us, and one would throw downwind, and then 3 people would throw upwind. And then you throw downwind and whatever. So we were training, and Dylan Sims would come out, and people were trying to convince me to come to Chile. I'm realizing now it's not because I was good. They were just like, Cape Town needs people. Yeah, it was already open. I think you locked it. Oh. Okay, so let's see what happens. Longabon. Oh, so Spain summer. I played like 2 or 3 games for Chile early on in the season.
And then started training.
Enjoyed it. And then had some chats with Stefan. And then, should I just start naming names?
Maybe not.
I mean, I'm leaving the country in 2 weeks.
We don't name names on this podcast.
We don't name names? Only teams. Okay, some big names.
Maybe just refer to...
Not named Yanku on Chile. We're like, yeah, Matis is never going to be good. And that kind of rubbed me the wrong way. I thought we weren't naming names.
I'll bleep that out. Or maybe I won't.
I don't care. It's not like it's anything bad. They were just like, Monty's will never be good. It was a couple of people have said that to me, but he was the prominent one. And then I was like, watch. Watch. They were like, they'll never beat us. And I was like, big statements.
We got a
watch. We didn't even have Vivian at that point.
Well, when you got her, then you were like,
yeah.
go downhill.
Started playing for Matis again. It was kind of like, I'm the team manager, I'm not going to walk away from the team. Or the other thing that was going on was like, I want to make some fundamental changes to the team. And I talked with the rest of the comm and was like, is it okay if we actually try and be good? Because I think we have the potential, and I want to stay and work with the team if you let me actually try and make us good. And they agreed, which came back to bite a lot of them later, but because pretty much all of them got relegated to the second team, which they weren't too happy about. Yeah. And I kind of knew that in the conversation. I was like, part of this is the problem with you guys. We got to actually get some high-level athletes on the team. So they agreed, and I stayed, and we got the bid to host mixed nationals in Stellenbosch. And I was like, this is the perfect opportunity for us to really start to take off as a club. If I can get a second team to go to nationals, so we have potentially upwards of 30 Stellenbosch students playing at nationals, this could really, that's double what we had at the club at the moment. And it was like, we could really grow and start sort of an ultimate movement, especially if that second team's young. They'll be here for a while. They'll make friends. They'll bring them to play Frisbee. And then we can grow. And I'd at that point started kind of this vision for how I wanted to grow the club as the team manager. And that was to build basically a foundational res league that was kind of, I think we have like 12 men's reses or 12 men's PSOs / reses and 12 women's PSOs / reses. And I was like, if we can get a team in each of those, and then that'll funnel into the opens team and the women's team, and we'll into like a second and third team, and then eventually up to a first team or whatever. And so we can build this sort of pyramid like structure, because right now it's just, if you show up, you play. There's not like a place to start and grow and develop.
You're just thrown in the deep end.
Yeah, you just get thrown in, and you're like, let's drive to Cape Town for 5 hours and play Ultimate and drive back.
Different topic, but anyway.
Yeah. Well, but it was irrelevant, because it was like, there's Ultimate in Stellenbosch now. And so you don't have to drive to Cape Town. You can play here. You can develop here. You can do kind of the hope was like you could play almost 2 years here in Stellenbosch doing Res League stuff and maybe second and third team and pickup and whatever, and you can play Ultimate every day if you want to, depending on the different leagues or whatever, and you can do all that development in Stellenbosch without having to drive to Cape Town.
Because that's 5 hours.
Because it's a huge commitment, and we're just getting dumpstered by teams in Cape Town, so it's not fun either.
Would you say it's not competitive? In the sense that
yes,
we're not comparable or better.
we were not comparable or better than our opponents at the time. We were worse. Uncompetitive, some might say.
Let's not start on the second team.
The second team, extremely uncompetitive.
We got a lot of good spirit scores.
Yeah, of course, because you lose games. If you lose games, you get high spirit. There's a
If there's
1-to-1 correlation.
only correlation.
Yes. Losing games, high spirit scores. Shout out to Cape Town Ultimate.
Second in nationals for spirit.
And what?
No, because UCT2 is worse. There's a team.
No, was UCT2 there?
Yeah. I love
Oh,
the
yes.
I love the
Yeah, oh,
UCT2 Monty's 2 Derby.
They were the drunk ones. No, were they?
Yeah, Vivian
Yeah.
annihilated them.
Right, there we go.
What I don't get is why can't teams who win also be like the Buzz Bullets? Just win
The donkeys
spirits.
do it sometimes.
Nah, the donkeys just run into other people and say we're well spirited. We won Spirit at World, and then they just plow your.
I think they won
teammates on the
Spirit
field.
this year at Opens Nationals when there were like 3 teams there.
Okay.
They beat Rex and Rangers or whatever. I don't know who else was there.
My
Yeah.
My bad.
Oopsies.
Anyway, back to your story of the drama.
Well, you can intervene here.
I'm just trying to keep you on track. That's
Yeah. What do I do next?
So this
You-
is now,
but also
let's say so now Marty's is hosting.
Yes.
also
They got
it's,
the bid.
yeah.
They
So
got
you
the bid.
got the bid, but you also
Well, but
I think
there's.
you only also had one team, and then you started going for the
I started going for the second team.
as well.
And I was like, we got to recruit women. Like our limiting
how,
factor
like-
right now is women. So I recruited all the women I knew,
Kirsten, Natalie,
of which
Trinity,
Natalie and
Anna.
Kirsten, because I sat next to them in math.
Yeah, we copied Kirsten. Well, I copied Kirsten, he copied me. It was like a train down the line. I think Jana was in there too.
I
And
was
Sam.
at last in the line. As
did the
Kirsten
computer
said,
stuff.
if you get the same answer as Marco, you know you're wrong. And she was correct.
Shout out to Kirsten.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Kirsten. Thank you for playing Ultimate. But yeah, so
that's for the second
So
team.
I started bringing the second team, but I also started recruiting athletes. Natalie's an athlete. Sorry, Natalie. I meant like I specifically going to Monty's Athletics, finding anyone who was cut from like the 400-meter team or the 800-meter team, or like it was the first year was trying out and it was like, this isn't really for me.
That's what Travis said at Marty's. You should get like the hockey tryouts. And
Yeah.
they didn't make the team play.
You want to play? Yes, exactly. No, I did.
It's a mini
Cornet.
one.
Yeah, Cornet was a track athlete who was like, I don't really feel like doing this at university, and I was like, you want to make some friends? Big social event out here. Throw some frisbee around. So there's that. We got blessed with a couple exchange students who showed up to volleyball, and they were like, I played some Ultimate, and I was like,
You're in.
we'll play some more Ultimate. And so that started to grow kind of a talent pool of women, which was unfortunate for 2 women on our team who had in 2018 made the under 24s roster for Wild Dogs.
2.
We don't. Yeah. Yeah. That one. I know.
Back to back.
You forget about them. Yeah, they were your teammates, Natalie. Well, no, they weren't. Actually, we'll get to that.
You
But-
haven't heard the best part.
But I realized these two girls were not as good as our new. So when you coach, one of the I think the fundamental things that young coaches err in is they look at where an athlete is right now, and they judge them based on that. If you want to win championships, what you look at is how fast athletes are developing and where you project them to be come playoff time or championship time, when the games matter.
In a sense.
Well, you're looking at potential work ethic. So like if you how much of an athlete are they, and can they develop further? So I knew kind of with these two Wild Dogs players that I had that they weren't going to change a whole lot between, basically we were in January at the time, or February, and in May when Nationals was. I was like, what I have now is what I'm going to get. And that they're not terrible players by any means. I was just like, we could have better players.
But they definitely plateaued.
Yeah, but they had kind of plateaued.
Increasing, like getting better at a rapid rate. They kind of, I don't want to say they stagnated, but having coached, seen them play the 2 years prior or the year prior, they weren't getting better than they were on like a short-term basis.
Correct. Yeah, I projected that kind of some of these new players we were bringing in were going to be significantly better come Nationals. And so I moved the two Wild Dogs players down to the second team, which was met violently by those in Cape Town who realized what I had done. And the two Wild Dogs players weren't happy about it and kind of told everyone.
Cape Town was like, oh, Marco hates women.
Yes. And I was just like, yeah, because I don't tell my side of the story. This is probably the first time I'm like sharing this publicly.
Which again, no one will watch. So no
one will know.
No one will know. But at least
it'll be out there now if someone wants to know. Yeah. But I just kind of let them go and share their perspective and whatever, because I was like, it's going to help them to get it off their chest. And I don't need. It's tough when like it's never easy to cut players kind of any level as a coach, or to tell someone they're not good enough. But it's when you do it, it kind of has to be just a clean, like, hey, this is how it is. I'm not going to get involved kind of further than this. A lot of times you see maybe a player gets cut and they'll come back at the coach and there's kind of a whole back and forth. And why did you cut me? Whatever. What if I did this instead? Would you have me back on the team? So you just kind of have to be like, this is how it is for this season. And this discussion's done. The decision's been made. And if you need to go vent or feel that out in whatever way you need to do, you do that. But I'm not getting involved like further. And so I was very much at the time like, I'm not commenting on this. Like the decision's been made. It's done. Now a lot of people wanted me to to say some things or explain myself further, especially because I'm like a 19-year-old kid who's just like, I know better than the Wild Dogs coaches. And they didn't know that I had significantly more coaching experience than them.
Which is still wild to me that it was something that was mentioned at the SAFTA discussion again. Cape Town Ultimate will never go anywhere unless we have dedicated coaches, but yet we have zero people with actual coaching experience, coaching credibility.
Well, we have people who've coached Ultimate. It's like it's a feedback loop. So you don't have any coaching experience, but you get promoted to a coaching role, and then you're kind of coaching, but you're also playing.
No, listen again.
But you don't
Let me
actually
just cancel myself.
Yeah.
The Wild Dogs of 2019 could have spent the time that they learned that dance to learn how to throw. And that's my statement. I'm sticking by it.
I stick by that statement strong.
Very nice choreographed dance they did before they got absolutely crushed by the 2019 Barbarians team. A bunch of Marty's second team players.
Yes.
Wild. Spirit of the game. Shout out. Let's be nice people and dance.
Yeah.
Learn how to throw.
Correct. But so I cut these two Wild Dogs players. Well, not cut. I was just like, you're on the second team now. I think. Well, we did testing. We had tryouts that you were a part of, that Janko was a part of. I wanted to be as objective as possible when making these decisions, because I can't just be like, I know as a coach, I can't just rock up and be like, I feel like you're not good enough.
You guys are ass.
Yeah. But so I wanted to also show them as well where they were falling short, because I was at the Wild Dogs training, and it was just, if you were female and you showed up, you made the team. There wasn't like an actual standard that was set. And so I was like, we need to have a standard on the Matis team, because one of the important things when you build a team is to build a culture and a standard. And so I was like, here's the standard, and you don't meet it. You're not as fast as the other girls. You don't have the base athleticism that they do. Right now you can throw better than them, but it's not by much, and they're catching you very quickly. And some of them were passing them at that point. So we played, I made this decision. Well, so we played Northern Lights as a first team with these two players, the two Wild Dogs players on the team, and lost. We went up big in the first half, and then Northern Lights realized their women aren't that good. We're just going to call female lines, because that was back when you could still choose the gendered lines.
Was that the game that was at Stellenbosch High School?
That was at wherever Northern Lights is.
Okay. Going there at Tigerberg.
I think it was at Tigerberg. I think it was at Tigerberg,
I watched a different game.
And they ended up beating us on Universe Point, kind of with that strategy. And then the next week, I went and coached the Matis second team against Northern Lights with all these newer girls on the team. And Matis 2 lost, but they played, Northern Lights attempted the same strategy twice and got burnt. Like, tried to throw deep and just got outran by Machi's lady deep into the space. And then our Machi's lady would turn around and score on them. So even though we lost the game, I was like, wait a second, what if I make a swatch, a little switch here, and I take the ladies that were on the first team, and I would say, whatever. And for some reason, I don't know why scheduling is done this way, but then Monty's one played them again 2 weeks later, and I had made the swap, and we beat Northern Lights 15-1.
Funny how making a small swap to your...
It's a small little change.
It was a small change.
Small but significant change.
And that's when I was like, that was the first moment I was like, okay, I've made the right choice, because I was hearing it a lot from people in Cape Town, from Wild Dogs coaches. How dare you put a Wild Dogs player on the second team? How could you?
Can we just maybe have a quick sidebar there?
Yeah.
The whole mentality of, I'm a Wild Dogs player, and that somehow gives me credibility. And not, I'm a good athlete, I practice throwing, I put in the hard hours. No, I'm just a Wild Dogs player. Oh, I play for Chile, I play for UCT. Maybe I'm going a bit too far.
UCT had Wild Dogs players on their second team.
Oh, they did?
They did.
Oh, well.
But their first team was the Dream Team that no one could beat until Donkeys beat them at Nationals. But yeah, but they got a pass, but we could not have Wild Dogs players on our second team, especially if we had no Wild Dogs players on our first team. So yeah, they were not pleased. But I was like, no worries, you're on the second team. We're hosting Nationals. I'm gonna pull a sneaky one here. Well, not even a sneaky one.
Oh, Marco, when you say
I was just like, you know what's good for development? If our second team goes to Nationals, I'm going to take a gamble. That wasn't even really like that much of a gamble, but I was like, I'm going to give the bid to Nationals, because you get a bid for hosting. I'm going to give it to the second team, and I'm going to make the first team qualify. And that means we do have to beat at least one of the Cape Town teams that we haven't beaten before, but I back us to do that come regionals time.
You guys play Savage.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
We'll get
to
that.
that. We'll get to that.
I was in Mongolia at the time when regionals happened.
We unfortunately, to flash forward, we beat Legends.
With how many people did you beat Legends while
6.
I was in Mongolia? With 6 people. Nelly, do you have any comments or statements?
Sorry, Legends.
Oops.
Oops, you
Our bad, Legends.
Oops.
our bad.
Okay. So come, but now, Marco, what was the reaction from the Cape Town scene that Marty's is sending their second team to host?
So SAFTA, people don't like it when you don't do things by the book. So
Technically, you did by the book.
Well,
Well, when they do it by their books.
yeah.
I've had too much food. My confidence.
No, so
Slay.
There was-
Queen, slay.
Sorry, we interrupted.
Yeah.
you.
yeah.
Yes, queen.
So as soon as like the nationals bid process comes out, every team in South Africa goes, because at the time you got like a certain number of bids per region, and everyone starts to sort of fill in who those teams should be before regionals is played. They're like, UCT is going to take the first bid, and Chile's going to take the second bid, and whatever.
Do we need to be competitive? We
Down to
just
the
get
list. Yeah,
a
yeah.
bid through elimination because all the other teams are
Teams
trash.
yeah, exactly.
Do we need to worry about this?
Yes.
Do we put effort in?
So there was an assumption when
To be
the bidding was announced that yes, it means there's an assumption when the bidding's announced. They're like, the bid's gonna go to Mati's one. They only have one team, and these are the other 6 teams or whatever who are gonna get to go from Cape Town. And when I was like, Mati's 2's taking the bid, Mati's 1 revamped, coming out after a big win over Northern Lights, and we'd started to gain some traction. Like, we weren't getting dumpstered anymore. We started scoring points, and I think people started to realize, like, oh shit, we might have to come beat this Mati's team come regionals time if we want to go to nationals. And so when I was like, second team's getting the bid, first team's going to go to regionals, and we're going to compete for a bid with all you all who think it's an automatic bid. One of you's getting knocked out because I'm coming in hot.
Who was that?
And it was a gamble. I talked to the other Monty's 1 players because I was like, listen, we're not guaranteed to go to nationals when it's being hosted here.
Test week as well, something.
No,
Yeah, it was during exam week.
No, that was nationals was during exam week.
No.
But okay, nationals was during
was
some
just
sort of
a
testing
test
as
week, yeah.
well.
There was a test week, yes, because we didn't have.
Engineering test.
Yes, yes,
Okay.
yeah.
Well, no, it's Chris and I was studying during nationals.
No, during regionals, we could not get people there because it was during test week.
And a lot of engineers played frisbee.
So SAFTA comes at me hard for giving the bid to the second team.
Sorry.
And they're like, you can't do that. And I said, that's fine. And then I swapped the roster for our first and second team and said, okay, I've given it to the first team. Our second team's coming to regionals to compete for a spot. And they said, well, you can't do that. That's your first team. And I said, no, the Wild Dogs players are now on the first team. Like, this is what you wanted. I don't understand why you're upset.
Wait, so technically Marty's 2 did well in nationals and Marty's 1.
No, because eventually, well, first they told me is second teams can't go to nationals, and I was like, bullshit. UCT 2 was there every year, and I was fucking like, Chile sends 2 teams every year. Donkeys sometimes sends 2. What the fuck do you mean you can't send second teams to nationals? And they're like, oh yeah, we forgot about literally all those examples in which second teams go to nationals. And they're like, fine, but you can't get the bid to a second. I was like, no worries, I'll give it to the first team now. Just cross out Monty's 2, right? 1. They got the bid, yeah.
They pressed it.
And they were like, no, you clearly just swapped the rosters. I was like, you can't tell me who's on what team. Are you team manager? I didn't think so. And I'm also, I'm an American. I have no respect. Which is part of what makes this whole thing like interesting. I think if I went into this with more respect and like humbleness and dignity, it maybe goes better. But I'm like, I don't respect you guys. Yeah. I was like, you guys, you're an adult. I'm an adult. Meanwhile, they're like 35 and I'm 19.
SAFTA at the time.
Travis.
Travis is not that old.
I don't know how old Travis is.
He's like 30.
He's like 30. Yeah, but I'm 19. And I'm ending every email I send with the correspondence with Travis. Like, I'm CCing everyone on SAFTA because I'm like, everyone needs to know about this. And then two, I'm ending it with like, love Marco. P.S. Can't wait to see you all at Nationals. So
he's like, what can annoy them?
Are you getting to? But so then they throw you another wrench.
So they throw quite a few wrenches.
So they're actively trying to stop blocking.
They're actively trying to block me from doing this.
Doing whatever team you want to send for whatever.
Yes. So there's a couple things they do. They call me one night and they say, hey, by the way, all of the accreditations for teams going to nationals need to be in by midnight. We just thought we should let you know. And I like call up other teams. I'm like, have you guys turned in accreditation? No, it was just us. Like they'd call Dirk and I. It was just two of us. And they're like, you got to turn in these accreditations. So we spend all night doing accreditations for people online, and then send them in. And so we have a girl named Dina on the team, and her name's Dina on the roster. And so we'll get an email back at like midnight, and then SAFTA's like, oh, you can't come. Dina didn't turn her accreditation. And I'm like, yeah, but her name's actually on a deed. It's right here. You can screenshot where I copied it, circled it 1,000 times, and then I attached it like another 20 times and emailed them back.
So no other team at this time need to jump through the same.
No.
They're basically trying to roll boulders in your way.
Yes, but
from doing all.
Yes,
Marco has money.
Well, so they're thinking what I'm gonna do is be like, I'm sorry, I couldn't pull it off. You guys win, but I'm like, I'm on the phone with them, and I think to me, it feels like they want me to panic to some extent. And the whole time I'm on the phone, I'm like, yeah, no problem. I'll get that to you right away. I'm like, not even an issue. Don't worry about it. So,
out of the deal.
Yeah. I'm like, done. Because I'm like, I'm not going to show them fear. Then I hang up the phone and I'm like, Dirk, you and I have to... we can't do homework tonight. You and I are going to do 1,000. Accreditations. I've gotten so good at accreditations.
No, you see, my way to do accreditations is for the advanced one. I did it like 5 times, and because I wanted to he had an offer, whoever got 100% got a free disc.
Yeah.
So I was like, I want 100%. So I made a Word document that's like 50 pages long. That's just a copy paste of all the ones I didn't get. So it's like
so Cape
I just
Town,
like Control F, find it in a Word document.
So we had a huge problem with whenever we drove through to Cape Town to play. We obviously have new players on the team, and like people in Cape Town don't know the rules at all, but they think they do. And they'll just make them up.
With confidence.
Yeah, with high confidence.
And
so I was like, here's what we'll do. I was like, and a lot of them only have basic accreditation because you only need like 50% of your team to have advanced. Or at that time, I think you need 50% or whatever. So I was like, we're going to all get 100% advanced accreditation. And we're going to know the rules way better than these guys. And we're going to start calling them out on this horse shit. Because it's getting fucking ridiculous. And we had to have pep talks with new players in the car and be like, listen, if they make a call.
Like Kirsten was the kind of in charge.
We were like, just say, I'd like to get my spirit captain involved. Yes. And fucking Janku will come out in blue with the rule book that he's printed out and be like, what do you want to talk about?
Let's go.
You tell me. Yeah. So anyway, I was like 100% accreditation. But yeah, so we did all the accreditations. And then they'd call me and be like, well, we got your accreditations, but what we actually want is your WIFDIF ID numbers. And all of these people had created their own WIFDIF accounts that I couldn't get into. And so I was like, oh, fuck, I can't get these WIFDIF ID numbers by midnight. What am I going to do? I'm not going to give up. That would be insane. Then they win, and that's unacceptable. So I was like, let me think. Oh, the WIFDIF office is in Colorado Springs. I live right by it. It's midnight here, which means it's middle of the workday for them. Let's just go above SAFTA. Because I was like,
Go
who does
straight
SAF
to
to
the
answer to?
source.
Oh, WIFDIF. Let's see if WIFDIF can help me out here. Because I was like, can I get into their accounts? So I explained the situation to WIFDIF. And they were immediately like, what the fuck?
It's like, Wolf was like, are you serious right now?
Yeah, they were like, you have to turn in what?
Look at that camera.
You have to turn in what? You have to give them what? You gave them the accreditations? You're good. What the fuck more do they want?
The governing body is like, these guys are smart.
These guys are, so I was like, perfect. Can you type that in an email and send it to this address? And copy me? And they did. They sent it. And they were like, Matis does not need to give you all of the WIFDIF IDs. Them giving you the accreditations is enough. And I was like, thank you, WIFDIF.
Shout out to WIFDIF. And to SAFTA, who actively tried to sabotage Marco from getting the two teams.
We're getting two teams. A second team which has now gone on to do great things as we've established.
Imagine that. So just, again, like, let's say outside of perspective, as UCT and Marty's being basically the only true sources of ultimate development in the Western Cape. No, not the true ultimate, but most players come through,
Yeah.
and then they leave, go to other parts of the country,
And stop playing Ultimate.
Josh asked, but where are all those players now? Where are all those women's players that win 2021 nationals? They went on with their lives because Ultimate is not a sport, Josh. Not the way we're running it in Cape Town. So why would anyone stay? It's a joke. But I digress. So they were just trying to block any development.
Oh, they're not done. They're not done blocking.
Yeah, because
there's
now,
more
apparently,
roadblocks they throw in the way here.
It's such a messed up system because now you're actively trying to do things, and you,
Yes.
on merit, wanted to play the team in there, give the bid, because let's be fair, they've given a bid to the Eastern region, and Marty Stu would have wiped that Eastern region team.
You did. Monty's
I'm just
two
saying,
didn't
so
come last.
worst teams have gotten bids for nationals, and that was fine because development, they only had one team. So if you look at it from an absolute perspective, they gave a bid to a team that has not been the worst team to ever receive a bid.
Correct.
But now, because it didn't play into what people expected was going to happen in the Cape Town region about going to nationals, ooh, prestige, now suddenly stop them. It's just so weird.
And that team has gone on to play U24s and win multiple national championships. And so it's like...
SAFTA should just be, if there's a boulder in your way, they should be like, oh, UCT can't pay us anymore. You don't need to
they
come
put boulders
to
in the
play.
way of UCT as well.
Just make it easy for people to, don't make it difficult for people to participate in the sport. Just
especially
roll the boulders
university
away.
students.
Yes.
This is why
Where all your development's done. Yeah.
students are poor to begin with.
I mean, we're three white people here saying this.
No, but like,
and I'm
go in-
American.
If you look at the average student, your top priority is not to play a sport.
You don't want to
That-
pay, yes.
Yeah, especially for a sport that you kind of consider as, let's say, your beginners. It's something that you've just started as well. You're like, I don't want to put in $600 or 1,000 rand into this, and I've literally just started. I'm not good at it. You're like, is it actually worth my while?
Yeah.
And so as a student, you're kind of looking at this, you're like, I could be going out with my friends on that and just playing for fun. Which, yeah, so it would be beneficial to the whole ultimate community, I think, to make it easier for students to join it, which I think, don't they have a student payment now?
Possibly, but I
Yeah.
think we were specifically now just so some students want bit
Yeah.
get more competitive, and now SAFTA is just like no.
Yeah.
Where's your WIFDIF ID?
Where's your with the
Okay.
fighting?
Where's your registration?
What did they have
What
to
else?
say
So-
about the WIFDIF?
So no.
emailing them.
So they didn't. WIFDIF's above them. There was nothing they could do.
Yeah, that's all roads lead to WIFDIF.
I put them in checkmate pretty fast. Because if they were gonna be like, no, we disagree with WIFDIF, I was gonna be like, WIFDIF, hey, SAFTA disagrees with you.
What are you going to do about it?
Can
I be the governing body?
Can Stellenbosch ultimately
I'll
be the
agree with
governing
you.
body?
I support.
Yeah. But so they were kind of in a bind. What they did next was they called me the night before regionals and said, hey, we've read our bylaws, which I don't know if they actually did or not, or what happened, but they were like, the team that gets the bid still has to go play regionals, and this is night before regionals. And again, I'm like, yeah, no problem, knowing that on the first team we only have 6 people going because of injuries. Because it's test week, we could barely. So I'm already facing the odds. Well, we have 7. We have 4 guys, 3 girls. So we do have 7. So sometimes we have 7 on the field, but everyone realizes this and they just call women's lines. So we're most of the time playing with 6. But I was like, no problem. And I just start calling anyone I know, because there were a couple injured people, and I was like, you just have to be at regionals. You don't have to play. When they pull to you, just grab the disc and throw it as far as you can out of bounds and walk to the other side. Like, I wanted them to make a statement. Like, I wanted him to purposely be like, SAFTA forced us to be here. I'm sorry about it.
I'm so sad I was in Mongolia and I missed that.
Well, no, we did. So CTFDA bailed me out a little bit because I got together a team of basically injured, crippled people and was like, we're playing. And CTFDA was like, fuck, we can't redo our regionals brackets now the night before.
Not the regional brackets.
Well, because they'd already set up seating, pool play, whatever. And we were 8 teams, and this was going to bump it to 9, which was going to mess up the whole structure.
Oh, no.
So they were like...
CTFDA
kind of got my back a little bit because they were like...
SAFTA?
No, CTFDA went to SAFTA and was like, listen, this is fucking ridiculous. We've already set the schedule. The teams already know the schedule. This is midnight the night before regionals. What are you guys doing? This is getting ridiculous. I understand what you were thinking. You were thinking he was going to back down. He didn't. Okay, he didn't back down. He put together a goddamn team, and they're coming. And now you fucked us. Okay, you realize...
I thought we were in this together.
We were trying to get him, and now he's got us. And now we have to redo the schedule at midnight the night before regionals. Yeah. So they were like, okay, fine, you don't have to go. We get it. I'm sorry. So that was the last roadblock they put in.
An absolute shit show.
That's what I said. There's always chaos around. It's not necessarily bad. It's not necessarily good, but there's chaos. It's not necessarily caused
It's
by
so
him.
unwarranted.
But wherever he goes,
It's so uncalled for.
This is all, to be fair, this is all from my perspective. But as Dirk can attest, this all happened the night before these things were due. This was not advanced warning. And no other teams had to go through this. Now, I'm proud of those days. Dirk and I stood strong together, and I'm proud of what we did. There were a couple other financial things they tried to throw in the way, not realizing that I'm an American and make US dollars. They were like, you have to pay these fees tonight. And I was like, done. I did it while I'm on the phone with you. It's done. It's not even worth it. What's that, like $40? Done. Thinking I was going to have to go collect the money from everyone. I was like, no, I'm done. It's paid.
Oh. Okay.
So we play regionals with 7 people. And this is where... Oh, so okay. So I should mention our 2 Wild Dogs players were not happy about playing on our second team. And throughout this whole season, Cape Town has been struggling to find women. And so when our second team's not playing, I loaned out a lot of our women to other Cape Town teams. And the 2 Wild Dogs players were a part of that. And they ended up actually just straight up joining other teams. Although one of them stayed and came back and played nationals with us. And I let her play on the first team. It was kind of going to be her last year or whatever. And she had started to make some changes, and we came to an understanding. It ended up not really affecting us too much. It probably would have been better to let some of the other players have more playing time, but I think it was the right thing to do, and she had done a lot for the club. The other one was just like, I'm out. I'm going to go play for another club, thinking I was going to be like, oh no, please come back. But I was like, no, it's fine. And I was kind of like that. They both went and did that at regionals. So they both played for a different team at regionals, which, by the way, you're not allowed to do is play for a different team at regionals and nationals. But SAF to let that slide.
CDFDA let that slide.
CDFDA let that slide.
Even
though they were rostered on our team for nationals, but whatever.
People that were rostered on Chile Heat that just appeared like random names that I needed to pay for as treasurer. They were never even on a team anyway.
Yes.
It was wild.
But my roster had to be pristine going into regionals. No. But everyone else could just randomly add and subtract players at their will. That's fine with me.
Yeah, that's perfectly fine.
Yeah.
Seems reasonable.
Yeah.
I'm fine with
Makes sense. Yes, 1 + 1 does equal 3. Yes.
Mm-hmm. But again, we could just be delusional.
We could be delusional
and just making up things.
Yeah, it's not like I've talked to other people and you've been involved in other clubs and you saw the back end going on there and it wasn't like this. So we could be making stuff up.
Yes.
Yeah.
For content.
Sure. This could all just be made up.
All
for
the
content.
Views, big controversy. Oh, clickbait.
Yeah. Big content. But
so regionals run.
Play regionals. Rock up.
6 players. 7 players.
7 players. 7 players the first day, 6 players second day. We beat UCT2, which we should have.
RIP UCT2 not making it to nationals.
No, they ended up making it. So this is the funny part of the whole thing. Is teams from the Eastern Cape dropped out and everyone from Cape Town ended up making it anyway. So I could have just not given the bid to the second team at all and they would have made it.
But you didn't know that.
But I didn't know that.
And neither did they. So
neither did they, and I was willing to risk it all.
And there was a point to be proven as well.
I was in it.
You were willing to be competitive. You were willing to gamble on the future potential competitiveness of your team.
Yeah.
You didn't have a competitive at the team when you made that decision, which is kind of on the complete opposite end of the spectrum. Just shout out to all the women in Cape Town that says they don't want to play Ultimate because the teams aren't competitive. You could maybe learn something from Marco.
Well, I was a psycho. Okay, I still am a bit of a...
What it means to not have a competitive team and to build one.
But I was like, I've taken this personally at this point. At this point, SAFTA's cemented me as being a Monty's player till I die. Like any hopes of me playing for Chile at this point are dead.
Dead in the water.
They're 6 feet underground. They're never coming back. I'm like, oh, it's us against the world now? Bring it on. I battled with these boys now.
Well, actually, it's like us against South Africa and then the world with you.
Yeah, Wiftif was on my side. That is true.
That is.
It was me and Wiftif versus South Africa. And Wiftif is a heavy hitter. Let me tell you. Wiftif swings hard.
Wiftif don't miss.
Yeah, they're a heavyweight.
But anyway, so you guys beat UCT2.
We beat UCT2, and we started playing close. We took UCT1 at half. We were up on them at half. And they were panicking because they were like, how the fuck are we losing to a team of 7 people? Like, this is ridiculous. They didn't know any of us because we're unknown players.
Yeah, Janko was still playing for
Janko was playing for Chile. I'm kind of the most known player on Matis. They don't know who Jacques is, and Jacques just tearing them apart. Like Yanni and Jacques are out there ripping people to shreds.
As well.
We'd come up with a zone. We were basically only playing zone, and it was.
Was the Anaman there? Sorry.
Kim was there.
Kim,
yeah.
Kim, Justin.
Yeah, Justin wasn't there at that time. Justin left. It was, but yeah. So we'd come up with a zone, and our cup was female, and it was aggressive. And then our back end, like Jock was deep. We were an aggressive zone. We play that junk zone Matis plays now. It's become like a staple.
Shout out to legends
of the Matis team. It's really become part of building our identity. Was like, this is who we are going to be on defense. We're going to play this zone. We're going to bait throws. basically we're operating under the assumption the other team's gonna score unless we do something spectacular. So we're gonna play this zone to force them to try and throw dodgy throws, and we're gonna back ourselves to make spectacular plays. And we got really good at it. The point we like took UCT to half, we were making waves. Ended up in the quarterfinals against Legends, and knowing if we win the game. Yeah.
That's what made me so
You gotta move around.
Yeah, you can't.
It's like one
you can't.
piece of a stick.
You can't.
Yeah.
You can't sit still for too long.
No. It gets you.
See why I did that?
I bought the couch
Even
for
if I
like
had
500 rand, okay? From Game, and then I carried it here.
Sorry, Mark.
But anyway, end up
used-
quarterfinals against
Yeah.
Legends, knowing if we win, we're guaranteed top 4, which means we're guaranteed a bid. Perfect.
I don't have my phone. Is my phone still going?
Excellent.
Nice.
And
Oh. It's been an hour and 20 minutes.
yeah. Okay, so
We need to maybe wrap this up.
sorry. So David's playing, and David's playing on our team, and we kind of made a joke because I'm American that they were like, if we win this, we're going to state. So he's like, we're gonna be state champs if we win this game. And he has a hurt shoulder, so after every throw, he's throwing and just screaming in pain. But that's part of like who we were as an identity. We were like, we're not injured. Like we're all injured, technically speaking. Like this is what I love about Cape Town. They get like they roll their ankle and they're out for 3 months. We were like, no matter what, we're playing on this field. So throwing the disc, screaming in pain. With 6 people, we beat Legends. They're furious. And we're huge celebrations. I'm like borderline crying because I'm like, I've done it.
Yeah, you got it. You gambled.
Yeah, I've gambled big and it's paid off.
6 people.
We're
on the
playing
field.
catch in the semis. I don't even give a fuck. I'm like, I had a bag of chips on the field. Like I'm eating. David's like, please take this seriously, Marco. And I was like, no.
My job here is
like,
done.
dude, I was playing in the cup with the 2 girls. I was like, I've given everything over these past like 4 games to get us to this point. I've crossed the finish line. That was the last game. I just had to get us there.
Reward.
I don't care about what place we are. I just had to get us the bid.